The second episode of WWE Unreal was titled Push, and in that episode, it chronicled WWE's Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. It is our playoffs, essentially, to show us who is going to be in this game leading up to the big dance of WrestleMania. It's just like watching any other sports that has a playoff season, whether it be the MLB, NBA, NFL, the list goes on. WWE has its season as well. In this case, the Royal Rumble decides who gets to get a pretty much fast track ticket to WrestleMania, and it begins to build the story that will lead us into WrestleMania. For WWE's documentary, they decided to focus on Jey Uso specifically. I thought that was interesting because they didn't focus on the women's Royal Rumble, which I imagine we will get to see more of the women in this third episode titled Worth the Wait rather than in the previous episode. Um, Push focused on how they deciphered who was going to get the Royal Rumble spot. In the very beginning, they all were unanimously decided, at least majority of the writers' room was like, give it to CM Punk, give it to Phil. He didn't get to grab it last year, but we had something going last year. And this year, that path is clear. Give it to Phil. Then Michael Hayes and several other of the WWE writers were like, well, Jey Uso is right there. He's hot, he's on fire right now. And it would be a waste to just let him, go to waste, especially after the performance he had last year in the Rumble. I guess it was mutually decided amongst everyone that they would consider, Jey Uso as a top spot. And eventually he earned the right to be able to be the Royal Rumble winner. A lot of people wanted John Cena to win. They figured they were going to keep going at the rate that they're going with his face run, and this is just going to run out to the end of his farewell tour. And John Cena, he was the guy. They figured it's a quick and easy, quick and dirty type of win for John. He automatically goes to Mania, goes and gets his title, blah, blah, blah. We're in love, we're happy. But again, they ultimately decided to go with Jey Uso instead of going with John Cena, and they gave Cena the chamber. It was interesting to watch the discussion between them because it kind of goes down the way I assumed that it would. They are tossing out ideas and they're mulling over how they can interweave it into the current WWE universe. And they write it out, and you can see them trying to work out the idea to make it make sense. In the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, it all has to make sense. So they had began to, like the idea of Jey Uso, which is why he ended up winning. And they, like I said before, they ended up giving John the chamber. The one thing I thought was cool was you got to see how the superstars interacted with each other. They would go in the back after a match, especially Cody and Kevin's match, brutal fucking match. Every time I saw them doing a move in there, it just took me back to Rumble, and it just made me just go, oh, it was so cringy. I was like, oh God. I was sitting here like, oh my God, like I was watching it for the first time again. But when they got it back, Kevin's full of blood. He's covered in his own blood. And he's like, yo, buddy, are you okay? Are you okay? Because I couldn't see you and I got ready to drop you. And I was just like, I need to make sure he's all right. I want to make sure he's okay. But everything went down. And then Cody was talking about the driver, I believe it was. And he was just like, I just fucking landed on my side, bounced right back up, and then fell forward. It looked incredible, but I was just fucking lucky. So he was like, you're okay, your neck's okay, everything's okay. He was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. You don't have anything to worry about. We are good. He was like, okay. You know. So I was like, this is fucking nuts. Like, and I knew, that they coordinate with each other. They have to work with each other. It is a song and dance. So his Cody's daughter Liberty is 1,000,000% correct when she says daddy's going to dance. In order for you to be able to do this, you have to have some level of coordination, and there is a gracefulness that is also involved in it. It allows for this to look and feel seamless to us as the viewers. So she, even in her childlike nature of making the best of the situation, making it logical to her, is still 1,000% right. And that girl is gonna be hella smart. And when she gets older, she gonna be a force to be reckoned with. Especially if she goes into wrestling. If she has her mama's wit and her mother's attitude and her daddy's wrestling prowess and the ability to just understand the business, Liberty is going to be a monster when she gets older. I pray that I'm here to see that girl's growth in this world. But anyway, as the show progressed, they continued to show Jay Uso. They focused on Jay Uso. They focused on CM Punk. You heard everything that they were talking about. And you got to see them signing the you got to see them signing the stuff for the fans with Cody. He got to see them meet with the fans. And there was a fan that gave Cody a very, very sweet letter. I love seeing that kind of stuff. I think that's very, very sweet. We also got to see Jay Uso, lay out his bloodline. And he was talking about how he's very proud of his family. And he's very proud of, the fact that there were 5 members of the Anoa'i family in the Royal Rumble this year. And he says he's so proud of the fact that even down, like all of our family is in this game together. He's like, we still making history, whether it's separately or together, we're still making history, still making sure our family is known, noticed, and that legacy continues. And he was just like, I'm fiercely proud of us and what we've been able to accomplish as a collective. And you saw, Lil Jay was talking to his uncles and talking to them about who he thought was gonna win. And originally he thought Uncle Jacob was gonna win, which Jacob was a good choice, but I knew that Jay Uso was gonna win. I knew he was gonna win you know. And I think the biggest problem with Jey Uso's win for a lot of people was that people were inherently expecting John Cena to be the winner, mainly because he was retiring. And that was part of the reason in the war room when they were in that writer's room, why they were so conflicted, because there's so many people that could have gotten that opportunity and it would have worked out storyline wise for them. You could have given it to Punk and it would have worked out with Punk and Roman. You could have given it to um Jacob if you really wanted to, and that would have propelled him out of the bloodline very, very early. You could have given it to LA Knight, which would have taken you in a totally different direction per whatever title LA Knight decided to go after. And you could have given it to a plethora of people, and it would have changed the trajectory of WWE all the way up until now. But everybody can't have the space at this point in time. So you have to be strategic about who you pick, and you also have to be smart about it in terms of longevity and where it stands. Sometimes you pick a Royal Rumble winner, they win, they get the title, and then they fizzle out. They're no longer worth the time or the effort to compete. And unfortunately, those are the ones that are like the duds. And then you have guys like Jey Uso, John Cena, Triple H, of course. Seth, I believe Seth's won Royal Rumble before. Has he won Royal Rumble before? Huh. Somebody will comment and let me know. But you have the big guys who've actually won the Rumble. Cody Rhodes, like these guys, they understand the idea and the magnitude of it. I was still a little perturbed that we didn't get like half a men's episode and half a women's episode. This episode was extremely focused on the men, and I felt like because there's a women's Royal Rumble, we should have had we should have been talking about the Women's Royal Rumble. We should have been talking about the selection of the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble and how that came about. We should have seen that. Now, to be fair, I can't say, speak on anything because I don't know what happened in episode 3 yet, but I'm going off of this episode. Now, they also showed, Triple H setting up ISO Speed's time in the Rumble and showed when he got hit by Brian Breaker, baby knocked him out his motherfucking shoes. Okay, not only that, but he scraped his leg like super bad, like to the white meat. He scraped his leg, and he was in the back. And this was no joke. That man was walking like he was about to pass out. And this is what, excuse me, we as WWE and just wrestling fans in general be trying to tell people that while it's a very choreographed sport, yes, it has to be, but at the same time, it's not an easy job to do. It is very hard. It is physically, emotionally, and mentally demanding to do this job. And you have to be of the elite and the elite to be able to do it at a level of where Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, like the levels of which you have to be at in order to do this is insane. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it is disrespectful to them to not respect the sport that they do, not respect the things that they do, and it really irks us as fans, of course, and I'm sure the wrestlers included, when you diminish that and you liken it to, oh my god, it's all fake, like it's all fake. And I'm like, I'm always of the suggestion is, okay, take a wrestling class. All I want you to do is take one class where you go and take bumps for 15 minutes, teaching you how to fall correctly. And then you'll earn your respect for the sport. It's the only way to teach people to mind their fucking business. But anyway, I had to say that because, it'd be pissing me off. Don't piss me off. But anyways, the rest of the show was just showing these really cool edits. Now, I am a stickler for if you are watching something, you should be observant while you're watching, okay? And I loved the way they edited the parts of this Royal Rumble so that it flowed seamlessly between stunts, eliminations, and entries. Like you really saw each elimination. Like the first one was with Penna, Ray, Braun Breaker, Chad Gable, and then they had ISO Speed come out there. Oh my god, that shit was so good. I don't know who edited this, but whoever edited those parts of this show, chef's kiss, because they looked so clean, they looked so pristine, and I was sitting here like, what is going on here? Like I was so flabbergasted at how seamless those transitions were. And they look like they were in 4K, which I'm assuming that they were, but oh my gosh. They were so good. The show was so good. Um And then you got to see Jey Uso win, and you got to see his son celebrate with him. You got to see him go backstage and be able to see his brother. And then Jey Uso said something that was very, very poignant. He said, I wish that people can see what I see because the energy that's in that room when you're out there, you can't describe it. But he said, you can feel everybody. You can feel everybody, everything and how they feel. You can feel it. He said it's indescribable, but he's appreciative. He's very, very humble. He doesn't take any of this for granted. And Cody is just like, when you are giving your time and you get it, it's incredible, but you cherish it, because it can be gone like that. And I was just like, fair enough. In this episode, I really liked how they focused on the Rumble, not so much on like the setup of it, who's going in on what number. They focused on Jey Uso and like who they were going to select to be the winner. And once they figured that out, then the rails started moving again. And we saw like everything play out the way it should, and it was very, very interesting. I am enjoying watching this because you get to see the superstars be real people. You get to see Triple H and his wife be real people. We're not just looking at characters anymore. And even in that, it's not giving away too much, which was something that I feared, and that some of the people that I, really talked to on the regular about this feared, like they were going to be peeling back the curtain way too much. And sometimes protecting kayfabe is the best move every time. But this was done. I don't know who. I know Peyton Manning executive produced it, which is interesting in itself. But I don't know who came up with the concept about what to show and what not to show, but whoever did, you did a great job at balancing that, because we are getting the pieces, the reactions from the backstage folks. We're getting to see the superstars interact with each other after matches in the backstage area, but we are not getting so much to the point where we're just like, ooh, I don't know if I want to watch this no more. This is doing too much, Like, oh, why they tell us that? We're not getting that. We're getting a very broad version of the song and dance. And because they're focusing on specific events, it makes it so much easier to digest. And it just feels a bit more genuine. It doesn't feel like they're giving us too much, and it doesn't feel like they're being too vague. They're giving us the right amount without exposing themselves too much, which I appreciate. So this is episode 2 of WWE's Unreal. We got 3 more episodes left. I am getting ready to start episode 3. And I hope you guys enjoy this recap of the shows, because, baby, we're having a good time here. And we're going to be moving in episode 3 in the next recap, which is called Worth the Wait. I'll see you guys then.